Hey friends, Donovan Bankhead here with Ernie Williams Music. I have a special guest today, actually. This guest is actually with me pretty much every week, but usually doesn't make an on-screen appearance. But today he wanted to be with Dad, so this is my boy Sarge. Sarge, can you say hi? No, of course you can't. So Sarge, this morning when we were getting here, he was like, yeah, running right into the room to be with Dad as we do these videos. So anyway, yeah, this will be a fun time. Unfortunately, you can't see him because he is like the goodest boy and he is very, very handsome. But he'll be here. Okay, anyway. Sorry, that's not what you're here for. What you're here for is for this, to check out the Fender Vintera II. This is like their guitar that pays homage to the 70's, the decade of disco. This was their kind of their tribute to that instrument, and it's a really, really cool and stylish instrument for those of us that appreciate that 70's aesthetic, which this one really happens to capture quite well, but while using some of the refinements and improvements that we have with today's technology. So we get an even better guitar than we would have had back then, especially in my opinion, much better than what we would have gotten in the 70's era for Fender. I think the guitars we're making today are better quality than that. This one's in a vintage white finish, and it is a classic Stratocaster recipe. So it features an alder body. It's reasonably lightweight alder body. And alder, of course, is a tone wood that I'm going to try to make sure my hands, I think this, if we reverse the camera angle, this makes the most sense. That if we think of harmonic frequencies, alder has like a nice pronounced hump kind of over in the lower mids, gives you just a little bit of that peak and warmth. And then everything else is pretty smooth all the way across. So it's not super bassy. Does have a nice low end, nice lower mids, and then kind of smooth all the way across the top. And then a maple neck and maple fingerboard, and that maple just adds a little bit of snap and treble high-end frequencies over here to it, which gives you a little bit more clarity and note distinction on each of your notes, which is perfect. And then, of course, everything else is, you know, we've got the vintage style tremolo and those standard appointments. Also vintage appropriate tuning keys there as well. So our neck is a 70's U-shaped neck, and so it's got a rounded profile. It's very comfortable, really comfortable, just very slightly chunky. And maybe chunky is the wrong word. It's got a little bit thicker feel. And it's really perfect for players who just kind of like to grab a hold of the neck and like just dig in a little bit. The fingerboard radius, let's talk about that. So this is a little bit different. This is a 7¼ inch radius fingerboard. Now, you might kind of wonder like, well, what does that mean? Like, what does the fingerboard radius mean? And also like, how does it affect the guitar? So if we think about the radius of a circle, the smaller the number, the smaller the circle, you know, the more pronounced, I guess you could say, like the curvature of the circle is. So 7¼ you know, might be like this, whereas like a 9½ might be like that, and then like a 12 might be like that, just as an example. Obviously, these are not to scale here. And so a 7¼ is just a little bit more rounded. And most people generally feel that when you have that kind of smaller number, it just makes it easier to grab a handful of chords and just play chords, because everything just feels like it's just a little bit closer together. Versus a more flatter fingerboard that might make it easier to play runs and fast notes because you feel like there's a little bit more separation between the strings. With this, it's just super easy just to mash your fingers down and grab some chords. However, at the same time, you're still able to do, you know, all of the single note stuff that you'd like to do and have all the deep bends and everything else you need to do. You're not really limited by that in any way, but it gives you that vintage feel. And I think, like, especially if you're playing chords and bar chords and things like that, and riffs and rhythm, things like that, this radius is really just a super comfortable thing to use. Also, it has the vintage style tall frets, and those tall frets again allow you to really get in behind the strings and do some deep bends, which is nice. And then with our pickups, we've got a vintage 70's era styled single coil pickups, which are really great sounding for that as well. These are bright and glassy sounding, but also at the same time warm and woody. So classic Strat. So single coils already kind of give us that bright and glassy sound, and all based on our neck, our pickup position switch. You know, the closer we are to the neck, the more warm and woody, and the more we go back to the bridge, the more bite and spank that we've got. And so this guitar kind of does all those things, does it really well through that. So, and then finally, the vibe of this guitar is definitely just screams like, you know, kind of the 70s with this vintage white here with white trim and maple, really a great look. Also available in finishes like surf green and a 3-tone sunburst. You can also get this guitar in that. So overall, it's really a fantastic instrument. It's a great choice for any guitarist who loves like that classic Strat sound and loves that sort of 70s aesthetic and vibe, but wants it something that has that modern playability of a modern instrument, but still keeping a little bit of that like old 70s disco charm. So anyway, this is a great choice for that. Okay, so let's say you want to try this for yourself. Let's walk through a couple ways to do it. Our favorite way is if you live anywhere near one of our stores, and you can go to Ernie Williamson Music and look and see for our stores. And at the time of recording this video, we have stores in Kansas and in Missouri. We'd love to see you in the store. Still, one of our favorite things is to get to see musicians face to face, and like that's how we develop and strengthen our friendship, is by that. So if you're able to come into one of our stores, we'd love to see you anytime to come in and play any of the instruments we have and work with our friendly, fun, fabulous people here. But if that's not going to work for you, or you don't live anywhere near the area, we happily ship guitars every single day. And you can go to erniewilliamson.com and search for this guitar, the Fender Vintera, and then you can find it. You can and then add it to cart and purchase it. Oh, I forgot to mention a cool thing that we can do as well. If you do want to come to the store, before you come in, if you want to play this guitar specifically, go to erniewilliamson.com and search for the Fender Vintera and look and see which location it's in. And if it's not in a location near you, you can send us an email to the email on the screen, or you can even shoot us a text. If you look up any of our local store numbers, you'll get a text. That our landline numbers are textable. And you can ask for us to transfer it, and we can transfer most guitars to any of our other stores within about a week usually. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes maybe 2 weeks, depending on if the transfer cycle and your requests don't line up quite right. But it's pretty quick, so if you'd like to play it in person, that's a very doable way to do it. So anyway, yeah. Friends, I hope that you enjoyed hearing the guitar and hearing John play it, and look forward to hearing your comments. What do you think about this 70s aesthetic? Do you dig the disco vibe, that 70s vibe, or not? And yeah, and maybe give me a shout out for Sarge. If you if you watch this and you're a dog person, feel free to say hi to Sarge. All right, hey, thanks for watching. Take care.